It is 8 minutes past 9. And I'd like to call the meeting of the Carroll County delegation to order. If you would, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have passed out minutes of the meeting of January 30th, 2012, and we have to approve those, and I'm going to put those first on the agenda. If you've had a chance to read those.
Yeah, I've got some corrections, yeah.
Yes, excuse me, there's a question from...
Will there be an opportunity for public input?
Yes, there will. We'll take care of the minutes, and then we'll go public hearing, and then into the rest of the agenda. Yes, Representative Merrill. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I've got two corrections. First, on the front page, just about halfway down where it starts with Rep. Merrill, would like to make a motion to mothball the raise of the building.
Okay.
Number one, I would never make a motion to raise the building. And number two, it should be to mothball, and if you cross out the raise of, I think we'll be okay.
All right.
That's one of, and I have one other one.
Yes, go ahead.
And that's on second page, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line up from the bottom. We need a public transportation system in the USA. I believe that should be in the county.
Should be that.
In the county.
I'm sorry, I'm missing that.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Actually
fifth
on
line
the
up from
third
the bottom
page.
on the, actually third page, I forgot.
Oh, okay.
Do that.
Yes, go ahead.
Two corrections, I think. Right out of public input, it says Maureen. It doesn't give any indication what she's talking about here. That money is a federal program and cannot be put in the state budget. Mr. York is in the process of writing a grant for this. What are we talking about?
Okay. I would imagine that was Maureen Spencer talking that day, and I
wasn't here.
But
She's here.
Oh, Mrs. Spencer, would you like to clarify that if you could?
There was a bill that was put before the representatives. Unfortunately, I can't remember the number of it right off the top, but it was about federal money that's received for the Concord Library to disperse regarding the ILL bans.
Oh, that's state money.
State
I
money,
don't know
yeah.
what number bill that was that you were delivering.
Okay.
And another one?
Why don't we just put in
use
parentheses, state library program
Yeah.
Another
at
one,
the
Mr.
end?
Chairman?
Okay, there is a recommendation made by Representative Umberger that we put in parens state library program. Yes, Representative
I
Babson.
think check with Representative Merrill, but I think about 2/3 of the way down, it says Representative Merrill. It'll cost the taxpayers a lot of money if we keep going.
Yeah, I
Is that
read-
supposed to be not if we don't keep going?
No, we were talking about,
Mothballing the building.
okay, I meant that if we kept going the way we were going, I guess, you know, we hadn't made up any decision, but basically what I was trying to say would cost the taxpayers a lot of money if we've got it going and we didn't keep going, you're right, Dave. Thank you.
What are we talking about, the nursing home?
This is the, yes, that was the,
Must be the old nursing home.
is that the old nursing home?
No, I take that back, after I read the others. What I said, we were talking about raising it and tearing it down and doing all those things, and this was after my motion to mothball it for a year so we could study it. And I was afraid that if we kept going without studying it, it would cost us a lot of money. Now, I don't know how you want to put that in there, but that's what it should be.
How would you like to put that in there? What would you like to?
I'd just take it out. No, if we
Parenthetically and put in what is
if we keep going, just add without a proper study.
Okay. Everybody understand that without a proper study?
It's close enough, I guess.
And any other corrections?
I'd like
Yes.
to move the minutes be accepted as amended.
On page, well, it says page 2 at the top, it says page 3 at the bottom. Representative Schmidt talks about installation of the pellet heater at 2.2.
I have no clue that,
Where is it?
it's,
Oh, I got it, okay.
third of the
About the
way.
8th or 9th line down.
That's what
Right
was
after
said.
McConkey, Babson, and Schmidt.
2 million, sorry.
I don't know how to reword this. My point being, at the time, I said with the addition of the money with the pellet boiler and with the 1.8 million that was prepared, we were looking at 2.1 million, 2.2 million. And my comment would be at what benefit would it be to the county at that cost to go down that road?
Would you be willing to just strike that since it's not very clear, or?
Well, I thought it was very clear when I said
No, well, I know what you're saying. As long as we can clarify it here, that's fine.
It needs to be clarified for the minutes, because anybody reading this later on
Yeah.
is not going to realize.
That's my point, you know, what, and I would say Representative Schmidt should make the clarification if you're ready to do that.
I'd need about 4 paragraphs, so why don't we just strike it? It doesn't add anything to.
Okay, we will strike that one sentence.
Okay, great.
Now, go with your motion, Representative Umberger. Oh, do you have another one?
Well, only that, for example, and Representative Babson inquired about the money from the federal program that Mrs. Spencer mentioned.
Where are you?
Beginning of public input. It just simply says Maureen on here. And I don't think that it's spelled correctly, but more importantly than that, it just says Maureen. I think it should say.
I clarified at the beginning that it was Maureen Spencer.
Well, I know
She
you
spoke to
did,
that.
but somebody reading the minutes 2 years from now or 10 years from now may not know who Maureen is, especially since it's just her first name. And I don't even think that's the way she spells her first name.
Okay, we'll correct the...
May I say something?
Go ahead,
Okay.
Representative Umberger.
Janice tries her best
Yeah.
to identify people, but when they don't identify themselves, you get what you get.
Yeah.
And so if our folks in the audience that speak under public comments don't identify themselves properly, then we can't get it in the minutes properly. Okay?
So let's
I have
just
no
let
idea.
Janice know that it's Mrs. Spencer. from-
I have no idea. I mean, I have no
Wakefield or
problem
Effingham.
adding Spencer to this,
Yeah.
but it's,
Okay,
that's why the that's what the problem is.
That's noted, and in the minutes, it will be Maureen Spencer, Maureen without the last E. And we do have a motion, is that correct?
Yes.
Representative Umberger? Yes. Is there a second to?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Yeah, I'm opposed because I still haven't read the second part of the 3rd and 4th page, so I'll just abstain.
Okay, one abstention, and are we ready to,
Yes, I'd like to move that we go into convention, please.
is there a second?
Second.
Motion's made and second. All in favor of going into convention, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we do have to approve then and ratify the motion.
I'll make a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
To ratify the minutes.
Ratify the minutes. All in favor? Is there a second to that, by the way?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of that motion to ratify the minutes in convention, would you please say?
Excuse me, should that be minutes as amended?
Yes.
As amended, yes, minutes as amended. And actually, all we're doing is ratifying the motion that was made in the executive session. All right, all in favor of that motion, then, would you please say aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, the motion's carried, and you
I'll
need a motion to come out?
Move we come out of convention.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of that motion to come out of convention, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
If you'll excuse me, I'm going to take this down to Kathy so that she can
Okay,
get that done.
fine. All right, then we will go on with the regular agenda. We'll have public input first. Do we have public input? Yes, I can't, okay, yes. Former Representative Bob Bridgham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am Bob Bridgham from Eaton, and I rise to raise objection to the action taken by this delegation at its last meeting. Representative McCarthy, a couple of meetings ago, I think it was, read the RSA, which details the powers of the delegation. They are to raise county taxes, to make appropriations for the use of the county, and to authorize the purchase of real estate for its use, the sale and conveyance of its real estate, the erection, enlargement, or repair of its buildings exceeding an expense of $5,000, and the issuing of bonds for its debts. As I look at the action taken by the delegation at its last meeting, I don't see how it responds to any of these powers. The delegation, a couple of years ago, authorized a bond for $23.5 million to be used for the construction of a nursing home. And the plan for the building of the nursing home and what would be included in that construction was laid out for the delegation at the time. The plan included creating a new source of heat for the nursing home. Since that time, the nursing home has been constructed. In the course of that construction, I don't know how many contracts that exceeded $5,000 were let, but I don't know of one that was brought to this delegation. Once the delegation had agreed that it was going to build the nursing home and had the plan, the delegation certainly was empowered to monitor the spending of the money to assure that it was consistent with the plan and did not exceed the amounts indicated. And the delegation has done that repeatedly. The commissioners, who are responsible for executing the plan, have done an admirable job. They brought the nursing home almost to completion. Not completed yet, because it does not yet have the new source of heat. But to this point, they are certainly well under budget and on time. They have done their job. Now you are attempting to take over their job. You are asking to take charge of the execution of the plan. That's their job, not yours. Your job is to authorize, and you've already done that. Get out of the way. Get back to what your job is. Your job is to monitor budgets and to approve them. And once you've done that, you're done. You have an important job, critical job, and I know you do it meticulously. Sometimes painfully. But the system works when you do your job and they do their job. Now you're getting in their way, and you're getting in their way in a way which is going to increase costs to the taxpayer and break what has been an excellent record in the building of this nursing home. So I ask the majority of you who voted for this action to stop work that would complete the nursing home, to get back on your side of the fence, to do the job that you were elected to do in this particular room. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bridgen. Do we have any other comments? Yes.
I have a couple of thoughts. I don't think I can express them quite as eloquently as this gentleman
For the
did.
record, just state your name again. You know who you
My
are.
name is Warren Levitt. I am a selectman in Ossipee. I served as county commissioner many years ago. In fact, at the time this building was built. And what I found noticeably absent and disturbing, actually, is that I sat here the other day and listened to, I guess it would have been a subcommittee, relative to the boiler, whether or not, as I recall, whether or not the expenditures were appropriate and so forth. And then there was a great deal of discussion about what was going to happen in the nursing home, what was going to be torn down, what should remain standing. There was no agreement at that particular time. What I noticed that I thought was particularly absent was no one solicited the Commission's opinions of what should be done to the old nursing home. These are the people that generally in this area. It seems to me the delegation should seek a great deal of input from them, and they should be the ones most aware, actually, of what should be done to the nursing home, the old nursing home. Secondly, I think the delegation is coming very close to infringing on the authority of the commissioners. I think part of it probably derives from the fact that everyone is still upset over the new nursing home, the cost of the new nursing home. I admit that I was upset somewhat about the cost. I think we all were, but what we have now is a wonderful nursing home that's going to take care of our senior citizens for years to come. We should all get over it, get on with it, and we should cooperate. I happened to have been here when this building here was built. We worked with the delegation. We had a great relationship. We did not consistently agree all the time. We had some heated disagreements, but when all is said and done, the delegation, the commissioners came together. They built a great building. They did it with good feeling, and frankly, I think that these people are being stepped on by the delegation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levitt. Yes.
Yes, I'm Don Litchfield. At the last meeting, I spoke rather impassionately about the fact that this commission, or the delegates, did not respond to commissioners when they asked for better definition of the action taken. My request this morning is that if they ask, you people have the courage and the decency to respond and give them the direction they're asking for, and not just avoid it in an effort to move on and not have to answer some difficult questions. You ignored them. You blatantly ignored the commission at the last meeting. Not one of you responded to this question. And I'd ask you not to do that again.
Yes.
Gino Fiudicello from Jackson. We as a small town, 30, 40 miles north of here, don't get much benefit from county government. But we as a group pay our debt to county government. Because I think these commissioners, particularly the senior commissioners, have done a marvelous job over the years against a lot of people that have been trying to undermine them. Reading and watching the minutes that are being filmed, I noticed the innuendo thrown away. And this goes back to Mark Webster, goes back to the former sheriff, the current sheriff, people that come in here. Everybody is being accused of things by certain members on occasion, particularly usually one member. And I find it reprehensible. And I think that the delegation must get to work, get this done, things finished. These people had a contract they were working with, and you're just undermining it. And it happens all the time. And I agree with the other speakers. Get to work, do your job, finish it off. The money's there, spend it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Chip Aldi, used to be a county commissioner. Just to lighten it up a little bit, if you've all been given a copy of the nursing home budget, and I think that we can all be happy with the success that we are presented with here. You were told a couple of years ago that we needed to build a new nursing home. and that the operational costs were not going to go through the roof, and they haven't. One of the key items in this new budget that you're going to look at today, which I think is a barometer of how successful this project is the housekeeping budget, which has actually gone down, in spite of the fact that the square footage of the building is twice as large as the old nursing home. There are efficiencies that are in play, and I think, and I'm not going to weigh in too heavily on the boiler dramatics, but I think that you have to realize that there are efficiencies that can be in play on the whole project if you let it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Steve Brown. I'd like to hear specifically what the delegation is going to speak to about RSA 2413, RSA 66:9. I would also like a copy of the commissioner's response that was handed to the subcommittee on Friday. I also believe that it should be read into the record today. And I would also like to hear what the delegation is going to do to protect our tax dollars from the commissioners. Time is of the essence. Thank you.
Thank you.
2413, which I believe is the $5,000 deal.
Right.
Well,
66.9.
66.
Yeah. I don't know the 66.9 one. I haven't memorized them.
You don't have them all memorized?
Not yet.
Do we have any other comments?
I was hoping to kind of clear some things up. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for recognizing me. I'm Chris Algren, State Representative. I was here at the last meeting, and I made an amendment to the motion that we all have been speaking of earlier. I appreciate all your comments and concerns about, what's going on at the old nursing home, the new nursing home annex, I guess, as we're deeming it at this point. But let's just get a couple issues about the timing correct, okay? The nursing home, as the plan that was presented to us before the bonding, that part of the nursing home is complete. The residents have moved in. They have a heating system. The heating system that we're talking about, the pellet boilers, is a supplemental heating system. It was obtained, or is being obtained, through a grant, and that grant process began after the delegation approved the plan of the nursing home, which is constructed. And there has been great savings, around 1.9 million, I guess. We haven't seen the final numbers, but so there is some savings there, thankfully. So that part and that plan and that approval has been already done by the delegation. What hasn't been done by the delegation is approving where we're putting the supplemental boilers. In what part of the annex the supplemental boilers were going to be located. It was assumed that they were going to be located, presumably where we're preparing to locate them now. I think there's been some work done over there, right? That's the exact location where we're putting the pellet boilers. The delegation has not been apprised of where we're putting these boilers and how we're spending this $375,000 for that placement. We have not been apprised of that. Beginning in August, well, certainly before then, but as stated at our last meeting in the August minutes, I put forth a motion for the commissioners to please give us a plan of what they would like to do with the old nursing home and how we would spend the leftover money.
May I interrupt, please?
Sure, you can interrupt.
The reason I am interrupting is that the subcommittee on the old nursing home has met and is bringing forward a plan, and that is going to be, not to be introduced today, but I thought it might be ready mid-month, next month. Is that correct?
The commissioners have indicated that they would bring it forward on the 12th of March.
So we do have that.
Great.
I'm
just trying to give.
I just wanted to move along so
we don't have anything yet.
No,
just trying to give forth some some helpful thoughts was that we have been asking for a plan. It was followed up by another motion. That motion in August was not ultimately passed. It was followed by another motion, was asking them to bring us a plan for a cost of under $1 million. We are still waiting for that plan for approval. Since that time, the delegation has become more intrinsically involved in developing that plan as opposed to the commissioners developing a plan presenting to us for our approval. And as the chairman has interjected, that we are now more directly involved in getting that plan together. As soon as we get that plan together, we can approve it and we can move forward. But the plan that was presented to us was for $1.5 to $1.8 million, and the delegation did not believe that it was in the best interest of the taxpayer to invest that much money. We're trying to find a way to spend less. But it's not prudent for us to go forward installing a boiler in a particular location where perhaps the results of this meeting is going to be that the boiler should be located somewhere else within that annex. We don't know yet. So to move forward for this next 3 weeks may not be prudent. So as soon as we get this plan, we can start moving forward. And we are happy to meet at basically any Monday to get that approval going so we can start moving forward. That's, in a nutshell, at least from where I sit, where we stand right now and what we're hoping to achieve in these critical next few weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Babson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Algren, I've been attending a lot. The only commissioners' meetings I've missed are when we had a session. I don't believe I've ever seen you at one of them, but for the last 5 years, I've heard the commissioners talk about putting the pellet stoves in that building for I don't know how long. And I think that we should move ahead with it. We're just wasting the taxpayers' money sitting here bickering about what we're going to do with it, and get the job finished, and get along with it.
Okay. And I did have a question from Commissioner Solomon, and then McConkey. Then we're going to get into the agenda. But go ahead, Commissioner Solomon.
It wasn't a question. It was a statement, pretty much as to what the Representative Babson just said. It was not a presumption as to where those boilers would go. It was very clearly done in committee meetings on the building committee meetings. So this is not a presumption. It was always supposed to go into the annex.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And just one more, Representative McConkey, then we're going to get into the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to bring everyone up to speed, I'm sure it's an item later, but the subcommittee met as we'd asked to wait and delay until we had brought something forward. I'll just read a section out of the minutes. Representative McConkey made a motion. Draft a plan. This is direction to the commissioners. Draft a plan not to exceed $1 million, including the removal of 4 wings and related costs of shortening of the core that will allow the pellet boil, laundry, maintenance, and approximately 3,000 square feet of empty space and a roof that will last 20 years. This draft, and then there was also a second motion that they bring forward a standalone building and what the cost of that would be. The motion passed unanimously. Second thing, while we're there, in coming out of that meeting, I have my own statement that I'd like to read at this time.
Could we hold that? I think I think we need to get into the business of the agenda today. We have the nursing home budget and the county attorney's budget, and if we have time at the end, we can address that. But we do have the nursing home report coming in, along with the commissioner's report, and I think we need to move along.
Mr. Chairman, in response, I would hope that we will have time for that statement, and it's relevant to the people that have spoken previous to this, and I would not like to see it delayed to such a point that we were to lose their audience.
Okay, is it a brief statement?
Less than a page.
Okay, well, go ahead then.
Tried to be. On January 30th, the delegation instructed the commissioners to stop any expenditures for the installation of the boilers until such time as the commissioners demonstrate to the delegation RSA 24